I'm Lisa Dahl, health and well-being coach. Welcome to Getting Healthy Without Rules. This show is about understanding the things that impact your wellness and finding ways to improve it. In this show, we take a non-diet, no-rule approach to health and wellness. Health and wellness is a moving target. We all have different needs and opportunities to improve it. This approach allows you to make the best choice with the information you have right now. It helps you to be present, flexible, and resilient. In addition, I support you in moving from judgment to curiosity and offering yourself self-compassion. It's time we are all a little kinder to ourselves. Today's episode is about chakras. The name of the show is Getting Healthy Without Rules for a reason. We all need to discover what works best for us as individuals. And while we may be rooted in science and driven by data, other modalities can also foster healthy mindsets and support our well-being. Belief is a powerful tool in healing. Anyone with doubts should consider the neuroscience behind the placebo effect, which has shown the brain produces real physiological and psychological responses that influence clinical outcomes related to health. Today, we will explore chakras. According to traditional Indian and Eastern spiritual philosophies, chakras are believed to be 7 energy centers within the body that correspond to various physical, emotional, and spiritual aspects of human existence. While their correlation to the body's biological system is purely metaphorical, many believe the chakra system offers many positive benefits, including improved emotional well-being, a deeper mind-body connection, and reduced stress. It's important to note that chakras are primarily rooted in spiritual and metaphysical traditions rather than scientific understanding. Nevertheless, in my experience as a health and well-being coach, I have met countless people with a strong belief and connection to the chakra system. I am excited to dig in and learn more about chakras and how they may be beneficial in improving mind-body connection, health, and well-being. Today, we explore understanding chakras and personal beliefs, how chakras can affect our everyday lives, the mind-body connection, intuitive energy healing, and how chakras are integrated into life coaching. Be sure to stay until the end for this week's healthy practice. I'm excited to introduce today's expert guest, Courtney Lillie. As a young person, Courtney was always intrigued by rocks, flowers, plants, food, and helping her family with gardens and cooking. This led to find Reiki while she was in college and eventually became a Reiki master. Courtney utilizes several modalities such as meditation and elemental healing. She has found peace and happiness while following her calling in life as an intuitive energy healer and has a practice at the New Danvers Wellness Center by Soul Warrior. Courtney, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
You are welcome. So I am super excited to understand, how did you become an expert and find your passion with chakras?
So I'm going to try and take the short road for this, but it really is a long story. Essentially, it started in college. I had gone through a series of pretty traumatic experiences, but in that process, I had gone to see a therapist and had talk therapy, and at some point, it was working really great, and then, I was kind of stagnant. So I worked with my therapist to find other modalities, and one of those just happened to be Reiki. I looked at an email and there was, hey, sign up for our Reiki level 1 attunement and get certified for a place that I used to work at. And I was like, that's it. Okay, that's my next step. That's what I'm going to do. And my therapist was like, that's a great idea. Like, it could actually really help you. It's energy healing and you're looking for healing. And within the level 1 attunement, you learn about the chakra system. So that was kind of my introduction to it. And from there, I kind of just continued learning. It was something that fascinated me. And the more that I learned about it and other modalities and techniques as well, the more I realized that almost everything is connected to the chakra system. And that just made it much more fun. So I just continued to work with it and learn to kind of heal myself and bring that healing to others.
So it was a circuitous route on how you
Yes.
got there.
Yeah.
So interesting. And chakras are a foundation of Indian and Eastern spiritual philosophies. Can you share what chakras are and their significance in these traditions? Because we hear these words, but they don't really mean anything.
Yeah.
So help me, help all of us.
So the chakra system in and of itself is our energy system. So if we think of ourselves as having different selves, right? We have our physical self, we have our mental self, we have an emotional self. We also have an energetic self, which is the chakra system. But within the chakra system, we have, depending on who you ask, I think there's 7 main chakras, but there could be more. And a chakra is, in Sanskrit, a chakra means wheel. So it's a round thing that sits in different locations of our bodies, and they also move similarly to wheels as well. So they move to different frequencies or speeds. So it typically moves around and around. When it's balanced, it'll move at the exact frequency that it should be, and you feel great and amazing, wonderful. And then if it's imbalanced, it might not move so quickly, or it might move at a different frequency than it should be. And you might feel not so great and need to kind of work on different things that are associated with that specific
So can you
chakra.
give me more specific examples? So you said there's 7 energy systems. What are those?
So the 7 main chakras that we have.
Okay, chakras, not
Yep.
energy systems.
Yeah,
Chakras.
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
The 7 main chakras that we have, starting from the root, is located at the base of the spine. And then moving up from there, we have our sacral chakra, which is located right under our belly button. The solar plexus is located right above our belly button. Then we have the heart chakra, which is located in our center of our chest. The throat chakra is located right at the base of our throat. We have our third eye chakra at our brow bone. And then our crown chakra, which is located at the top of our head.
And can you, like you just gave specific examples, can you give short explanations of what each of those do?
I will try my best.
Okay. Just because I know the name, and I'm
Yep.
guessing a lot of people who are listening are not really familiar, and you could say heart chakra, what does that really mean?
Yeah, so again, let's work our way from the bottom up. The root chakra is our stabilization in life. It's our security, our sense of rootedness and groundedness in life. Our sacral chakra is more our femininity, right? Where our move with the flow, go with the flow type of thing. And our solar plexus chakra is more kind of masculine. It's our inner power. It's our fire, our motivation, our passion. Our heart chakra is where one might understand love and compassion lies, and that is true. Our throat chakra is kind of how we express ourselves with our voice. And I could also be like with our style as well. Our third eye is more of our innate wisdom, our inner knowing, our intuition. And our crown chakra is actually our connection to ourselves, or a higher being, whatever you believe in, the universe or whatever.
Okay, so that gives me some general idea
Yeah.
of how they are all interconnected, and we're going to dig into some of them in different areas.
Yeah.
There are many different diverse perspectives on health and wellness. Tell me why you find chakras to be valuable for individuals seeking well-being, especially from your own personal experience.
Yeah, so the fun thing about chakras, and I mentioned this a little bit before, they're connected to a lot of different things I've noticed along my way of learning new things and new techniques. So one of the things that I recognized as I was going through and healing my own chakras was that the wellness wheel, if you're familiar with that, it consists of, again, depending on who you ask, it's anywhere, from 5 to, 10 or something like that, different aspects of wellness. I like 8. 8's a good number.
So what we're talking about is emotional health, spirituality,
Spiritual health, yep.
Occupation,
financial wellness, I think you said emotional,
intellectual,
physical, yeah.
Your mental health.
Yep.
They're all interconnected.
Yeah. So I actually took that and I connected it to the chakra system. And I realized while I was healing my chakras, wait, I'm practicing wellness and I'm improving my well-being because the chakras are connected inherently to the wellness wheel. So it's fun to kind of like intertwine those types of things.
So it's a pathway to connect your well-being.
Exactly.
And you connect it to your inner system, so to speak.
Yep.
And you use that as a vehicle to be able to get to know yourself better through that system.
Exactly. Exactly.
With chakras rooted in spiritual and metaphysical traditions rather than mainstream science, how do you navigate the bridge between such spiritual beliefs and a rigorous scientific perspective?
Great question. I don't know if you're going to love my answer.
It's your answer, and it's not for me to have a stamp of approval. It is about trying to understand a different perspective where I come from a science background, and trying to, how do we bridge scientific wellness with other modalities, because people heal in all different ways, and that's why I'm willing to have the conversation that it's not black or white. I mean, science is science, and then we have other beliefs. How do you bridge those?
I personally think that some things we can't explain, and that's okay. To have something that we can't explain. But if it works for you, then great, it works. You know, like there doesn't have to be a scientific perspective on it. However, I would love to see some scientific evidence about the chakra system. I don't necessarily need it, but it would be really cool for science to prove that it was a real thing. It was working within our bodies. It would be a great experiment for sure.
And are there any scientific is there any science that's going into the research of this belief system? Do you know of anything out there?
I don't know of anything, but there has to be something kind of popping up. I mean, there's scientific studies going on about like meditation and yoga and things like that, which are inherently connected to the chakra system. So it just makes sense that
So
maybe
perhaps
it should be a step deeper.
So perhaps at some point there will be in the future some information supporting the belief of chakras.
Yeah.
So as you just said, many practices like yoga and meditation are associated with chakra work. Could you explain how chakras contribute to the mind-body connection and enhance the effectiveness of these practices?
So, like I said, we have our different selves, right? Physical, emotional, spiritual, energy. The mind-body connection is all connected to the energetic body as well. If we don't have, and I say the word energy, not necessarily meaning like, whoa, I've got so much energy, right? But energy of the sense of like, I can feel that I have energy in this portion of my body. I talk with my hands. My hands are very energetic. You know what I mean? That difference. If we don't have the energetic body, then how are we going to be connected to our physical bodies, right? If we can't necessarily feel, okay, well, when I move this way, it hurts. Maybe I shouldn't do that too much anymore, and I should figure out what exactly that is and why moving this way hurts.
So it's our physical body.
Yep.
So it's kind of, I'm trying to just put it into words where you're taking your innate experience and putting a label on where you feel that within your body, and connecting and listening to your intuition.
Exactly.
Okay. I think, it's just, I'm so curious on how it all is working and just the connection to the different parts of health and well-being. Okay. Improved emotional well-being is one of the potential benefits of chakra work. Could you explain how balanced chakras contribute to emotional health and resilience?
I'm going to talk about my own experience with that because I think I experienced it, and I have had profound realizations from it. So, as I mentioned, I went through a series of traumatic events when I was in college, and this led to me being diagnosed with pretty severe anxiety, depression, and then also PTSD. So it was a very turbulent time in my life. I didn't know who I was anymore. I was not connected to myself in any way. I was very disconnected from my physical body. And it was difficult to deal with the fact that I was having panic attacks every day, multiple times a day, and it was hard to focus and things like that. So part of my healing with chakras was going through those emotions that I was feeling and actually sitting with them and recognizing, okay, this is what I'm feeling. This is where I'm feeling it in my body. And a lot of it was in my chest, heart. Chakra. That's typically where we feel a lot of grief or depression. My anxiety shows up there too, but it sometimes shows up in my stomach as well as, it does for most people. You feel the butterflies and the flutters and things like that. But each chakra has kind of a balance and an imbalance portion, right? And they're connected with different emotions. The heart chakra, as I said, grief, depression. But on the balance side, you've got love, compassion, joy, happiness, things like that. So while I was feeling through those emotions, I was able to release them from my body, from my heart chakra, move all of that stagnant energy out, and in turn, feel a lot more happiness, feel a lot more love and compassion for myself as well as for other people.
So it's putting a label on something that, and I think there's all different labels. So when I'm listening to you speak, because I work a lot with intuitive and mindful eating, a lot of times we talk about, food is the messenger of an unmet need. Mm-hmm. And when we choose to eat, there's many different reasons why we choose to eat besides our hunger.
Yep.
And a lot of times we talk about heart hunger. Somebody, feels empty. They've lost a relationship. They've gone through a divorce. They're sad. They're depressed. They've got anxiety. There's so many different things that are connected to the heart. Because I don't work in the chakra world, I use it in mindful eating, where we are talking about heart hunger or touch. If somebody is deprived of physical touch, food will fill that need. So it's just interesting on how things are interconnected with different labels and innately about the similar things. So it's just so interesting. Did you have anything else that you had wanted to add? I didn't want to cut you off.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I feel good with what what was said.
That's your final answer. You're good. Stress reduction is a common goal for many seeking improved well-being. How do chakras contribute to stress reduction, and are there specific techniques or practices you'd recommend for this purpose?
So I'm going to go back, right? Like, if we improve our well-being using the wellness wheel and by connecting with our chakras, we are probably inadvertently going to reduce some stress. It's just kind of what happens. We feel good in our bodies. We feel good in our relationships. We feel good with our emotions. We feel good at work. It's going to relieve a little bit of stress. So I think that you work on your chakras and it just kind of happens without necessarily focusing on it all that much.
And it's all, healing takes on so many different modalities, whether it is through talking, whether it is through touch, whether it is through therapy.
Yeah.
All of these things, you are basically putting a label on where you feel it in your body and how to heal those unmet needs.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is kind of what I start with for everybody. I think we start with the root chakra. It's the most neglected sometimes, but it's also a really easy one to connect with. So specifically for stress reduction, go out for a walk, a 5-minute walk outside in fresh air. Try and put your phone away. You can keep it on you for that sense of security and safety. I get it. But maybe put it in your pocket on vibrate or even muted, right? And just go for a walk and spend 5 minutes by yourself, not distracted.
And it's all part of meditation. It's all part of just being self-care. When you work with a client, tell me about, what is that experience like? What do you, I'm just trying to see differences, similarities in how I work with my clients in coaching, where chakras are not something that we talk about. I talk about their emotions, their feelings, and all of those things without putting the label on it. And I'm just curious, is it a similar conversation or a very different type of conversation?
So I actually don't do like specific coaching. I work through energy healing. So typically I'm doing Reiki with clients, and we start talking about the chakra system because Reiki is inherently connected to the chakra system. So as I'm moving through the process, they're just kind of relaxing on a table and I'm doing all the work. They get to have the great experience of relaxing and meditating and being still. I'm actually going through all of the chakras, and I'm getting a sense of how they're like moving, as well as which ones might not necessarily need some work, while others might definitely need some work. And then afterwards is actually when I talk to the client and say, okay, here's what I found, and this is kind of what I would recommend for you moving forward. Now, if somebody came up to me and said, hey, I would like to work with you specifically just for chakras, I'd be like, okay, great, but we're still going to get you on the table for Reiki because that's my modality of tuning into the chakras anyways. But it's mostly just, they don't even know really what's going on until after the session.
So when you say, this is what I would work on, how do they work on it?
I would give them recommendations.
So can you give me, can you give me an example?
For instance, like, I typically will be like, all right, 3 days. For 3 days, I want you to get outside for a 5-minute walk to connect to that root chakra, right? And then let me know how you feel after that. And typically they're like, oh, wow,
well, fresh air and sunshine feels pretty
this
good.
feels great. And most often people are like, I went for 20 minutes, I went for an hour walk, or I went for a walk for 10 minutes for 3 weeks in a row every single day because it felt so great. So that's one way that I do that. But also I've recently started connecting the chakras with the elements, because I also work with elemental healing. So one of the ways that I recommend connecting to the sacral chakra is through water, because that is the element that's connected to the sacral chakra. So doing a water meditation in the shower, getting under the shower head and just letting the water come over you and thinking about all of the things that you want to release and watch them kind of go down the drain, right? Or walking by water, sticking your feet in the water, going to the ocean. There's a lot of different ways to heal that.
It's a lot of, I'm hearing the connection between being present and meditation. And it's helping people connect to what their body is feeling and to be able to tune into where their challenges or struggles are and help them build their toolbox, and being out in the sunshine, just washing away whatever it is that you need to let go as a metaphor.
It's awareness. It's awareness of how we're feeling and what we're doing and making the changes that we need to make in order to feel better, right? So, but it's also about that connection to yourself. How do we connect back and know ourselves better than other people know us?
And it's, we spend so much time, and I say this often on the show, is that we spend so much time worrying about our relationships with other people that you're using this as a tool to create a bridge, to create that relationship, to open lines of communication so that you learn to know yourself best.
Exactly.
Our relationship with food is impacted by the mind-body connection. How do chakras play into that relationship? I'm just, we touched on it a little bit, but I'd love to hear your perspective on, if somebody's on the table and you're having that conversation, what does that look like?
So the way that I work with chakras is typically through the colors that are associated with them. It's the easiest way to explain how to work with chakras and food at the same time as well. So root is red, sacral is orange, solar plexus is yellow, heart is green, and then the upper three chakras are where it kind of gets a little hazy, but essentially throat and third eye is like the bluey, purpley types of foods that nobody really knows what color they are, but they have got those hues, right? And then the crown is typically white. So if you want to connect and heal your solar plexus chakra, I would eat things like bananas and lemons and yellow peppers, yellow squash, acorn squash, like things that are yellow, right? You can also wear yellow or carry around yellow crystals. I love crystals, so I've got a bunch in there in my purse over there. To just carry around and be aware of like, hey, this is what I want to bring into this day with me. This is what I want to take with me while I'm doing whatever I'm doing throughout the day. And it's having that intention there.
I was just going to say the word intention is what kind of is going through my mind of connecting that I will feel better if I bring this particular thing into my presence, into my life, into my body.
Exactly. Yeah. And you can have fun with it too. A couple years back, I decided to challenge myself to see how many colors of foods I could get onto a plate, right? So
you need a bag of M&Ms.
So also the other thing too that goes into this, and I'm not knocking anything that's processed. I'm not knocking anything that's not whole foods, raw foods, right? But because the chakra system is connected more to like earthly things, it's important to recognize that when I say eat yellow foods, I am saying things that come from the earth, right? You can absolutely have a bag of M&Ms and not feel bad about it. But
and it's right. I mean, the point is that how do foods make you feel in your body?
Yep.
A handful of M&Ms for most people is going to be fine. If you eat a bag full of M&Ms, the 1 pound size,
I'm laying down on the couch all day doing nothing else.
You're not going to, right. You may or may not feel well.
Yeah.
And it is about the intention of fueling your body with more nutritious foods than you typically do, which creates that healing feeling.
Exactly. And if you think about the scientific perspective that everything is energy, right? Everything at the very basis of science, right? You have atoms and they vibrate. So they have to have a frequency. Therefore, it's what we call energy, right? Food has energy. And that energy ties into our energetic body, the chakra system.
How do you fuel your body?
Mm-hmm.
Many of our viewers are looking for effective self-care practices, and you've already mentioned a few. How can they utilize chakras to work and to enhance their self-care routines?
They go for a walk. Like literally,
Just
the best thing that you can do is just get outside for a walk, or even just like put your bare feet in the ground and take nice, big, deep breaths outside. That's your root chakra, your heart chakra.
Connecting to the earth, grounding yourself, being present.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, we've talked a lot a bit about how the chakra system, I connect it with that wellness wheel. So you're doing that already. You're taking care of yourself by working on that chakra system.
Looking at that wheel, where is, if you look at that wheel and you kind of put everything on a scale of 1 to 10, and 10 you feel like you're nailing it, anything lower you feel there's a need for improvement.
Yep.
Looking at that wheel, noticing which categories you could use additional support, and finding that self-care toolkit, that box to help you pull out the tools that you need to continue to feel well.
Exactly. Yeah.
How would you recommend that someone new to the concept of chakras start exploring and integrating the practice into their wellness routine? Like day one.
Day one, okay, the colors, right? At the very basis, know the colors. And it's just the rainbow, right? Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, white. And then you can expand from there. And then, of course, going out for a walk. And of course, intention, right? If you're putting the intention like, okay, I'm going to cut up this cucumber for my heart chakra, and it's going to fuel me for, the rest of the day on top of this salad with this wonderful, I don't know, whatever you're making, right? I'm going to have a salad with chicken for lunch, so that's why it came up. But
but it's about positive thoughts, positive psychology, noticing the good, noticing the positive.
Yep.
How do you shift your mindset so that you are looking more forward than worrying in the past?
Exactly, being present in the moment and recognizing that where you are right now is where you're supposed to be. If it wasn't supposed to be, you'd be somewhere else.
And and a lot of us, we get lost in either the rumination or in the past. And one of the best ways to be able to lower the stress level, reduce the anxiety, is to embrace the moment and the awe of each experience.
Exactly. And I've been there. I lived in the past for...
We've all been there.
At least a decade, right? Before I saw improvement in any of my anxiety, really. So...
it enables you to change your story.
Exactly. And recognizing that you're not what happened to you in the past. You're not what's going to happen to you in the future. Today is what you have. And I'll throw in one more thing that's a little bit more spiritual, but most people are recognize it as a great self-care practice. Gratitude.
For sure.
Gratitude. It connects you to your crown chakra.
Yeah, one of the best books I've actually read is, and I think it's probably right behind me, is Wake Up Grateful by Christy Nelson.
Yep.
And it really is a great way to be able to understand the power of our thoughts when we bring in gratitude. And it could be as simplistic as starting with that practice of, I'm grateful for the sun shining, but how do you get deeper than that?
Yeah.
How do you start to go at a different level so that you can embrace what the quality of your life is and to bring that forward?
It's a balance between things that you actually feel truly grateful for and things that you want to manifest in your life, right? What is something that you're truly grateful for that is leading you into the life that you want to manifest, right? Sunshine is on my gratitude list almost every day because I love the sun and I love being out in the sun.
It makes you feel good. It's warm, it's connected, it's relaxation.
Yep.
Count me in. And then there's people who, how do you feel different when the sun isn't shining?
Yeah.
And it's, and my daughter is very connected to what the weather pattern is.
Yeah.
If it's a sunny day, chances are she is, up and ready to go. And on the rainy days, since she's a child, I can always see the difference in her level of energy, so to speak, of how she perceives the day and what her mental health looks like.
But that's also an awareness of how do you feel on that day and how can you move through that day with that awareness and still be okay with it.
Right. Yeah, the other day we were laughing. I said she was doing photography for me. And I said, do we need to keep the lights on all day? She's like, you know what? That's not a bad idea. Because we just know that it's very light sensitive. How do we, when you're aware, you get to choose on what that next step and how to make that next step better can be. Yeah. As we wrap up, what excites you about the future of chakras and its integration into mainstream well-being practices?
I am just excited that people are learning more about the chakra system, because I don't kid you when I say the chakra system has changed my life, and connecting to my energetic system. Profound experiences just by doing that one thing, right? Recognizing that I have an energetic body and being able to then heal it, and continue to heal it. Healing is a lifelong journey, by the way. Just throwing that out there.
Absolutely. I mean, our health is always a moving target.
Yeah.
We don't just get there and stay there. We could,
It's a
we could stand up and I could trip and I could break my leg. Mm-hmm. Hopefully that doesn't happen.
I hope not.
But the reality is that our health and well-being changes in a split second.
Yeah.
How do we learn to be present with it and to be flexible and, most importantly, to be resilient?
Absolutely. And with that being said, I think that as people kind of learn about this, they think, oh, well, I'll go see an energy healer once and ooh, I'm cured for the rest of my life. And if that is what you think, then okay, cool, great, that's amazing. But don't forget that your energetic body is constantly changing, just like your physical body is.
Right.
Right? And there's always going to be experiences that happen that we need to heal from. And we can do that through some energy healing.
Right. I mean, it's like with the practice of intuitive and mindful eating. You don't just wake up as an intuitive and mindful eater.
It's a process.
It is, and we always refer to it as a practice, because we are constantly changing. Our environment changes, our thoughts change. We don't always make the best decision. We may make the best decision for that moment in time. And it is an ongoing practice that what can we learn from that experience to be able to improve the experience next time?
Yeah. Yeah.
So before you tell us about this week's practice, are there any other words of wisdom you would like to share on how to become happier?
Just be present, like put away the distractions for a little bit whenever you can. I know that that's hard to do. We have so many distractions in life right now, between phones and TVs and kids and family and partners and everything, right? Spend a few minutes every day just kind of by yourself, if in silence if you can. If not, then hey, there's nothing wrong with putting on some music for your whole family and having a dance party. You know how many lives that would make happy?
It's such a little kid thing. We used to do that when the kids were little, and then you forget. You get older.
That's such a release.
It is.
It's such
huge.
a release to move your body intuitively to a song that makes you happy, right? You're singing, you're expressing that in your throat chakra, right? You're expressing yourself, and you're connecting with other people. That's your kind of social wellness, right? And connection to other people, your heart chakra. So if you can't get a moment alone by yourself, have some fun. Have some fun.
Be in the moment. Enjoy.
Yes.
So I know that you have a demonstration for us today. I'm going to let you take it from here.
All right. So this is actually a meditation, and this can be as short or as long as you would like it to be. I will walk you through it, and then you can kind of take it away from there and go into this meditation as you see fit for yourself. But what we're going to do is kind of get into a nice seat, comfortable seat with a part of your body planted on the ground, hopefully either your feet or your bottom, right? And sit up nice and tall. You can close your eyes. You don't have to if that doesn't feel safe for you. You can keep them open. And we're just going to focus on one chakra at a time. And we're going to use the colors like I had mentioned before. So we're going to start with that root chakra. So we're going to imagine right at the base of our spine, there's a nice bright red. And we're going to connect with our root chakra. And if you are kind of already an intuitive person, you can see if there's any messages that are coming up from your root chakra. And if they don't make sense, that's okay. They may make sense later, they may never make sense to you, but it's what you need to hear in the moment. And then you're going to move up into your sacral chakra. And this one is orange. So you're going to imagine a nice bright orange light right underneath your belly button. Have it nice and glowing. Maybe it should look like a fire to you. I don't know. Or maybe it's kind of flowing back and forth because it's that connection to water, right? And you can also tune in and see if there are any messages that your sacral chakra has for you. And then you can move up to your solar plexus chakra, which is right above your belly button, underneath your rib cage. And this one is yellow. So you're going to imagine a nice bright yellow light here. And with every breath, you might think that these kind of get bigger, right? So as you're going through the meditation, it's kind of pulsating bigger and bigger and expanding. That's a great imagery too. And you can see if there's any words of wisdom that your sacral or your solar plexus chakra has for you. And then move up into your heart, right at the center of your chest. And this one's green. So you're going to imagine a green light coming out of your chest. And listen to any words of wisdom your heart has for you. And then you can move up into your throat chakra, which is located right at the base of your throat, kind of right between your collarbone. And this color is sky blue or light blue. So you're going to imagine the light blue light right at the base of your throat, shining bright. And take any words of wisdom that your throat chakra has for you. Again, it may not make sense, and that's okay. Just let it come. And then move up to your third eye. And your third eye is located right here between your brow bone. And this is a deep blue or an indigo. So you're going to imagine that light right between your brow bone, pulsating and getting brighter and brighter with each breath that you take. And then finally, we'll move on to our crown chakra. And at the crown chakra, imagine at the top of your head a white light. And once you get any messages from your crown chakra, imagine that white light flushing through the other 6 chakras, all the way down through your toes into the ground. This white light is going to cleanse your chakras. And it's going to help you to get them a little bit more in balance. Balanced.
To be balanced.
And then once you feel good there, you can open your eyes and come back into the present moment. That's just a really great way to connect with all 7 of your chakras while also kind of clearing out any stagnant energy that you may not want.
Helping you to be present in the moment.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much for sharing and educating, and I learned so much today, so I am very grateful for all your information.
I'm glad.
Today we have learned about what chakras are and how the spiritual tradition can positively impact our self-care and well-being. If you're looking to continue the conversation, please join me for my monthly office hours and conversations. Drop me an email. I would love to know what you are learning and how you're using this information for your health and well-being. And I look forward to you joining me next time on Getting Healthy Without Rules.